here's some questions for AMA at J&DFitness. So you recently wrote a blog post about differentiating between pain and discomfort when training. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think this is really important because modern society today, we've evolved as a society. We don't sleep on floors anymore. We sleep on comfortable beds. Most people, for work, it's not so much manual, intense labor. So even people that go to work physically, there's more sitting. As far as like the labor process, as we said, is not as intense in the workplace. So throughout the course of our day, we don't have to expel a lot of energy. There may be a lot of mental energy. We have to use our minds more, as technology's gotten involved. But we have a lot of comforts. We're in air conditioning. We're in, during the winter, the places we work are heated. We don't have to walk places. We have automobiles, right? Or even scooters. So what's ended up happening is that society just, life has gotten cushier, right? We've got more comforts of life. It's made our lives easier. That being said, because we don't have to walk 3 miles to work, and just to maintain our place where we live, we don't have to go out and work like a farmland. And in the morning, we don't have to go out to the stables and get the eggs and the vegetables and all of that. We open a refrigerator. So for a lot of people, the true labor starts to happen during exercise. But this is the thing. When you don't do these things routinely throughout the course of the day, that 2-3 hours a week when you go to do them, they're more challenging to the point, initially, it may feel like pain. I've had people where when we're starting something, and the moment something gets really hard, a muscle starts to burn, and certain sensations they associate in their mind that it's pain. And it's actually not, it's not discomfort. If you don't lift like a weight to have to lift something up, the first time you go to lift something heavy, if you haven't done it in a while, it's gonna create some discomfort for you. But some people in our minds will say, I don't know if I should be doing this, that's pain. And what happens is when we get away from challenging our bodies, what ends up happening is we kind of sensory, our brains, we have a hard time disassociating, pain and discomfort. And a lot of times I'll tell somebody, I tell people when they have to think about it, I go, is that pain or discomfort? You're thinking about it. And it's like, I don't know, if my lower back, is that a little discomfort because I haven't worked on strengthening it? Or is that pain? Am I doing something really bad? And it's really hard. Sometimes you have to almost deal with that discomfort. And funny enough, you'll see how the discomfort starts to fade. It's like doing that first set, of exercising where like your shoulders may be a little tight and then they loosen up. Initially, there may be some discomfort, maybe like, ooh, it doesn't feel great. And then you start to groove that movement pattern. And remember at the second set, third, the fourth rep, suddenly it starts to feel a little better. I think some of the mobility drills that have kind of been introduced and we're all starting to do now really help with that because they can lock the body in. But I can't stress enough, a lot of people, I've had people when they're doing a plank, and because they haven't had to squeeze and contract all their muscles, right? Their glutes, their quads, their lats, and suddenly they get in that plank and it hurts, right? It hurts, not in the way that they're doing damage to themselves, they're not hurting their spine, but their initial thing is they'll quit, right? After 6-7 seconds. And I tell them, you almost have to work through a little bit of that discomfort for that pain where suddenly it won't be so painful. With our hands, right? If I take a piece of sandpaper, and I always tell people I use this analogy, if I scuff it with sandpaper for a few minutes, my hands become callous, which is a great way to protect my hands, right? I can pick things up without my skin ripping, right? And that's a little, rubbing sandpaper creates a little discomfort. But in essence, it actually makes my hand more resilient. It makes them better, that I can handle more stress to them. Now, if I sit for a half hour and rub sandpaper, my hands will bleed. So again, and that's pain. So I guess the biggest takeaway and what I'm trying to share is that, again, because of modern society and because we don't have to work so hard and just living life in our everyday activities, our senses are heightened to discomfort. And I tell people, you have to learn, and sometimes again, take a moment and really, before you give in and thinking that you're in a moment of discomfort, get comfortable being uncomfortable for a little bit. And I think that'll improve your overall fitness. Definitely could work with your strength.
All right, cool. To follow up with that last question I had, have you ever experienced this problem before? And if you did, what did you do about it?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a position in my own personal journey. Like I said, in the last probably 10 years of experience, again, from being a trainer now 33 years, got some arthritis in my knees. I had one surgery about 2 years ago, one of them. And I will tell you that in the beginning of my day, especially waking up and having just arthritis, my knees will be stiff and it will hurt me, right, to bend my knees. I just won't. I'll almost, you'll walk with a little bit of a waddle. But if I kind of get and start bending my knees, literally sometimes I have to get on all fours and just rock back and forth and start bending the knees, suddenly the pain dissipates. And I'm the first one. The best my knees ever feel are after a workout, where I'm squatting, where I'm lunging, and I'm constantly bending them. But if I don't bend them, and I will always say that first set, those first few reps, it is major discomfort, right? Because again, with arthritis, the joints got stiffer. So I have to work through that, and then and then it starts to feel so much better. And that was my own. I would almost avoid it sometimes. My knees would get stiff, and I'm like, that just doesn't feel so great, and I would not do it. And all that happened, they got worse and they got stiffer. And when I made it a habit throughout the course of my day, every day, just to get them moving a little bit, not even I'm doing a workout per se. I'll take a quick 5-minute break in between appointments and just, again, get in quadruped, do some rocks, work on flexing them, bending them, and those first few reps don't tickle. But what I've learned is, overall, at the end of my day, and I've seen a big improvement with the mobility of my knees when I've made a routine to get in there and bend them and get them flexing. So I can say, even speaking from experience, I had to check myself and say, what, that's a little discomfort, but I got to deal with that to loosen them up a little. So again, don't let discomfort confuse you with pain.
All right. Thank you.